Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the MII webinar series. This special session is a teaser to a program that's coming that we're looking to bring to Malaysia, and we are really glad to partner with Momenta, and you can see Dr. Carl Tong on your screen. There he is, along with Denise. He's a member of his team as well, and we'll be covering the topic for today is critical knowledge, technical advisory skill sets for the wealth management professional. And the whole idea, I think we're just having a discussion about this, and as we were looking at the kind of program to have, and you know, it's about how do we look at equipping industry professionals or sales professionals with a more client-centric approach as opposed to a product-centric approach. And I think Dr. Carl is going to be covering that in his presentation today to give you an idea about this program called the Certified Wealth Management Associate. And so we're really happy to, again, have Dr. Carl speaking to us today. And as you can see from his profile, I think he has tried everything, not tried, he has done everything under the sun. You know, so he is a L&D expert, many years, 30 or more than 30 plus years of experience in consulting, co-founded several tech companies, also, you know, a serial entrepreneur, as you can see in his profile as well. He's also done a lot of strategic consultation for MNCs, NGOs, and government organizations, and worked with a lot of, as you can see, major organizations, especially in financial services, to help them, especially in terms of how do you enhance the people capabilities for organizations, right? So that they can serve or they can function at a much higher level. So I think this program is about how do you take your people to the next level, right? To really raise their game. And so Dr. Carl is going to be talking about what are the skills that are needed for people of today, I think for financial services professionals of today, in order to be able to really, I would say, meet the moment, right? Or meet the very, very, I would say, diverse needs of clients of today. And I think in the next, I think, upcoming slides, besides this, I think as usual, we always share with you what other programs are coming. So I'm going to leave Dr. Carl to take you through the full set of what he's going to be covering. Again, the program is a global program, and you know, over 5,000 certified professionals around the world have undertaken that particular program. And so we'd love to hear Dr. Carl go through his presentation soon. But again, I think in the chat you will find the links to all the different sessions that are also coming up, as well as I think Dr. Carl will be talking about how, if you are interested in signing up for this particular program, the full program, then I think the link will be shared a little bit later during his presentation. So Dr. Carl, over to you so that you can take us through this if you're ready. And if you have any questions, please post that, and Dr. Carl will get to it at the end of the session. All right.
Thank you. Shalini, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Carl calling in. Amazing thing about technology now is we can connect relatively conveniently, but we want to make this an interactive session. I don't want to be a professional PowerPoint speaker. Rather, I want to have a dialogue. So if you have questions, you can write it up, send it through chat, and then later on, Ms. Shalini and her team will moderate it, and we'll try to take the questions. We want to make it relevant for you. The topic for today, and I'll just share my screen, and I will first let you all know that when I share my screen, sometimes I'll have a slide view, sometimes I'll share just the PowerPoint slide so I can take some notes and facilitate this way. A little bit about myself. I'm based out of Singapore now. I used to live in KL, love the city. I'm originally asli dari Indonesia, but I have a little bit of a Masala accent. I spent many, many years in my professional life and my growing years in the United States, in Malaysia, in Singapore, even in Japan for many, many years, about 4 or 5 years. So I've been around. I also want to just set the context. Currently, our job in our company is to train wealth managers, and we are basically the experts in that. So our clients range from the prudentials and uh, life companies, all the way to the IFAs, independent financial advisors, and the majority of our companies currently are the banks from Citibank and HSBC, and our largest clients are UBS, Credit Suisse, Julius Baer, the private banks. So we work extensively with all different types of wealth managers. What I hope to achieve today is just three simple things. In the 30 minutes that I have, three simple things. The first thing is define what do we mean by wealth manager from an inside out to an outside in. How can I use that definition to start to re-engineer myself to be relevant for today's rather crazy, what we call hyper volatile market situation? If you just look in the last 2 years, there's been two major black swan events, right? A black swan by definition is something I didn't expect. A black swan is an anomaly. Well, you've got the pandemic, but if during the pandemic, that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has tripled in value, quadrupled in value. And then another event is actually the Russian-Ukraine war, which the whole world somehow is pulled in and it's become a proxy war for the United Nations and a former Warsaw Pact. And so I'm sure all of us have opinions on it. But these are two events. What has happened? How does it relate to how I conduct my business as a wealth manager, as a financial advisor, as an insurance specialist, as an IFA? Is the type of advice I give will continue to be the same? Is the type of conversations I have with my existing clients and my future clients going to be the same? So the first is, how do we define wealth management in this rather volatile world from an inside out to an outside in view? The second is, what is the mindset, technical skills, soft skills, and knowledge? MTSK, that's the way we talk. In our language of training and equipping, MTSK, mindset, technical skills, soft skills, and knowledge. I will share the slide deck. If you want to have a copy of the slides, well, first you can screenshot if you want. Happy to do that. We're here about equipping you and sharing best practices. But if you want the slides, the Malaysia Insurance Institute will be happy to share that with you. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is then talk a little bit about the program that we have designed specifically to help financial advisors, wealth managers, maybe do a little bit better job in this crazy kind of volatile market. But we're focusing on two things here. What is the equipping that's necessary? What is the equipment that's necessary to have what I call better hunting skills or prospecting skills, and better farming skills, which is how can I look at my current portfolio of clients and manage them better and sell deeper? So how do I deepen my share of wallet, and how can I get new clients? So we have a course to address all these dynamics. So let me just jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm going to ask my colleague Denise, if somehow the screen or the voice is not well, you can just message me. All right. So I hope you guys can see my screen. So the first things first. That's me. By the way, my doctorate is not in wealth management. My doctorate is actually in strategic leadership and how people learn, the ability to learn. So, but it relates to wealth management. I've spent the last 18 years extensively with all the wealth management companies around Asia, and even in the US and the UK and in Zurich. So first things first. The first thing I'd like to impress upon all of us is the following. If we define wealth management by products, I think it's quite limited. If we define wealth management as insurance and risk management, I think it's part of the solution. If we define wealth management as what to invest, that's also quite good. But I would like to suggest that the outside in view, meaning from the client's perspective and from wearing the client's shoes, wealth management comes in 5 different seasons, right? People have a season of wealth creation. Whether it's your first job that you used to be on your parents' payroll, right? When you're a student and somehow when you get your first job, you're looking forward to buying your first motorcycle, first car, right? You know, you just want a first holiday that you pay by yourself with your friends, you go on, right? So that's what. Then the second part is actually wealth growth. What happens here? You're not just creating wealth, but your wealth starts to grow. If you're in a business, this is where you see your business to grow successfully. Not all businesses are successful, but once it starts successing, you can accumulate wealth. This doesn't matter if you are an independent financial advisor or insurance agent. Your career tends to follow these, and your clients' seasons also tend to follow this, generally speaking. And then you've got wealth accumulation. At some point, prayerfully, God willing, and I do say that with a lot of focusing on God willingness, at some point, you want to accumulate. And then your growth is still happening. And then in different people's seasons, when you start to shift from active income to passive income, active income is defined as I earn money through my job, I earn money through my profession, I earn money through being a Grab driver, to a tutor, to a teacher in school, to a salesperson, I earn money through my business. At some point, that active income becomes, at some point, passive income. Passive income is where I'm more dependent on the returns of my portfolio, right? And I want to preserve. And then at some point in time, when you have accumulated some wealth, you're looking and you're thinking about transferring it to the next generation. If you don't have children, you can still bless others. So the first question I have actually about this is, I would like to encourage us to look at wealth, not just purely from an investment point of view. Sorry about this. Yeah, but I rather encourage us to say, okay, wealth management is technically everything here. And I'll make this a little bit more thicker. Wealth management is everything here. Right? This is all wealth management. So the first question that I'd like to encourage us to think about is, in order to be relevant, what are the critical skill sets? Yes, please think about, or even better, ask the client, what season is he or she in? So that's really the first, hopefully, idea that you can think about. It's because it's never about the product. It's never about what to invest. It's always about the context. Because if someone is in a wealth preservation season in their life versus the wealth creation season in their life, the same product could serve 2 different purposes. Is that fair? So I'll stop my screen and I'll just try to hopefully impress us. 5 seasons: wealth growth, wealth creation, wealth growth, wealth accumulation, wealth preservation, and wealth transfer. The first relevant concept that I like to impress upon us is to find out from the client, how do they see, which season do they fall in? Because the same financial product could do different things. This takes the conversation away from product centricity to client centricity. Let me repeat that. It hopefully changes the dynamics on how you engage with your existing clients or even your future prospects. You try to shift the conversation from product orientation to client orientation. We all talk about client needs. We all do a risk profiling form. The issue is, do we appreciate their full context? And of course, it comes with trust, it comes with good technical skills, it comes with good soft and advisory skills, and you have to have some level of good knowledge, right? Having said all that, that's really the first kind of like statement I'd like to just impress us upon. Please think about, or even better, ask the client what season is he or she in. Once you appreciate this context, then the next thing you want to do is, okay, what is the mindset, technical skill set, soft skills, and knowledge? MTSK. What is the mindset, the technical skills, the soft skills, and the knowledge? And this is an example of the different buckets here. And I'll just draw a few things out here. Mindset. Do we have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Forget about the clients for a minute. Are we more inward focused? This is what I can do, versus outward focused. This is what the client may need. What are my values, and what is my personal value proposition, and what is my organizational value proposition? All that in a way comes down to mindset and values and how I see the world and what is my worldview. How I see the world, what's my worldview. I would encourage us that that's probably an important starting point, because if you already have a worldview that, you know what, I'll just do what I want to do, it is what it is, I think it's very difficult to be client-centric and to stay relevant, right? I'm a part of a church, I'm part of the leadership of the church. I remember very painfully when we used to have meetings, church board meetings, they say, oh no, we don't want to use any technology, we just want to meet in person. Guess what? When the pandemic hit and we're not allowed to meet in person, overnight we were forced to learn Zoom. Now all of you, including myself, including my mother, who's close to 80-year-old, she knows how to use Zoom, because you want to be choosing the right mindset. But after mindset, you've got technical skills, right? The technical skills talks about things such as financial planning, risk management, investment strategy, portfolio construction, and portfolio review. These are examples of technical skills. It's not an exhaustive list, but it gives you examples of a technical skill. And then soft skills, including hunting and farming and engagement soft skills, including the ability to ask good questions, including the ability to actively listen, the ability to read people's buying behaviors, the ability to engage different type of clients in different ways. And we'll talk a lot more about that. And finally, knowledge. I think this is a lot of training tends to focus on, do you know your knowledge, the product, the competitors, and even the current affairs. What do I mean by current affairs? If you actually don't have an opinion about, or don't understand about anything about the war, and you don't even know that we're actually at war, I mean, the Russians and the Ukrainians are at war, then we've got an issue here. Basically, clients wants to know what they want to know. So in a very structured way, we would like to say, all right, if we agree first that we need to look at the clients in a very client-centric way, if we agree that we need to help the clients if they're in wealth accumulation, that's how we do engage them. Then we also think, in order to drive deeper conversations, we actually have to be relevant with the right mindset, the technical skills, the soft skills, and the knowledge, then how do we define the core competencies? What are the capabilities that will allow me to become more relevant today? I hope I'm able to impress you a little bit that I'm able to have some technical skills on how to use the PowerPoint, because that's a relevant skill today. The ability to do a presentation and use PowerPoint and type on the spot may not be required 4 years ago, but today, with the limited ability to have flip charts and also the opportunity for me to do training in Singapore and facilitate interactively in Malaysia, this is a skill set. So coming back to MTSK. So first, well-seasoned, second is MTSK. So what we've done is we've actually made MTSK something of a cool diagram. There are 24 core competencies of what we call a chartered wealth management advisor. That's a program that we'd like to just spend a few minutes talking about very soon. Now, this is a small diagram, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but I don't know if it's so clear. I know some of you, if you're dialing through telephones, it could be very difficult to see. If you're dialing through iPad, it could be easier, or a tablet. What I'd like to go ahead and do is look at this. There's 24 core competencies, and it starts with value proposition. And then we say, forget about just the value proposition. Once you know who and what you stand for, then you want to learn to build trust. Because as a financial advisor, health advisor, financial wealth advisor, financial health advisor, you need to build trust. After you build trust, you need to understand needs. After you understand needs, you need to learn how to pitch. And finally, you need to know how to do review and rebalance. This framework is what I call the consultative advisory framework. This chart's a little bit messy, so I'm just gonna do this. So that's the second layer. The third layer is right here: client book management, pipeline management, and account management. If you are a financial advisor or a wealth manager, fundamentally, you are running your own business. If you're a wealth manager, fundamentally, you're running your own business. So the question is, how are you going about running your own business, right? Excuse me, let me just get rid of this. Fundamentally, how are you going about running your own business? So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I think it's easier to see. There you go. So you want to learn how to manage accounts. You want to learn how to review your client book and say, who's giving you the most amount of business, and are you spending the right amount of time with the right clients? And then finally, you want to say, okay, if I don't have enough clients, if I don't have the right type of clients, I need to go hunting. I need to go prospecting. So these are the relevant skill sets. Notice so far, I haven't spoken about portfolio construction, understanding risk products, and doing benefits illustration. I'm just simply saying, as a wealth manager, I need to learn how to be more relevant from a sales effectiveness point of view. Because I'm in sales, I need to drive business. Without business, it's very difficult for us to survive. So that's the third layer. The fourth layer is now talking about my ability to articulate wealth principles. Can I share with clients complex wealth principles such as core satellite? Can I actually formulate a wealth strategy that may include insurance, it may include a will, it may include a trust structure, it may include investments, it could even include cryptocurrency. So first, I need to be able to explain and articulate. And just because I can explain and articulate doesn't mean that I can formulate. So I need to learn to formulate. And then I need to then ensure that I'm walking and journeying with my client through a wealth plan. I need to think about the different seasons, such as the current framework I just talked to you about. the wealth seasons, the life priorities. And at some point in time, the client says, why do I need you? I can just Google. I don't want to buy anything that I don't know. I prefer to stay in cash. If you're so good, why aren't you rich? I rather follow Warren Buffett. He's the world's best investor, which is true. These are all behavioral finance biases. So if you can see this gray area, this third layer, actually it's the fourth layer if you look at it, we're talking about how can I articulate and how can I explain and how can I engage my clients in a productive, positive way so they want to do something, because leaving it in cash has a problem. And you guys know what the problem is. The fact that we're in hyperinflation in some parts of the world, and even in the United States, which is 7% inflation, that's a problem. Once you do that, then you should be able to discuss risk products, investment products. You should be able to understand and explain and engage on what I call foundational assets, from basically equities, FX, cash, fixed income. You'll even want to think about the ability to discuss modified assets. What do I mean by modified assets? How do you define, how do you describe a structured product? That would be an example of that. By the way, you may say that my company doesn't have structured products. I don't have structured products in my thing, so why would I want to talk about it? Well, if you're targeting certain clients, such as high net worth clients, if you're not talking about it, their banker is. So you might as well understand a little bit, so you need to know what you're dealing with, correct? And then there's something called special asset class, such as this. Special asset classes includes some things such as private equity, venture capital. What is the difference? What is the difference between these two? In fact, how can Spotify go IPO at $33 billion US, but still be unprofitable? Where's the logic in that? These are your ability to describe venture, seed round, investment, and so on and so forth. And we've added this in here, but our program doesn't really cover this. Real estate. The reason we did that is because real estate continues to be one of the major asset classes for all Asian families. And finally, the final circle is we want good wealth managers to understand the competitive landscape. You should at least know what your competitors are doing. You can quickly, easily do mystery shopping or just speak to your friend who works there. You need to understand what the industry trends are. You need to actually understand which is the client segment that you're going to go after. You need to understand the regulations. And maybe, because there's so much going on, you need to talk about fintech. At least know what's that all about. So there you have it. That is the core competency of a certified wealth management advisor. Okay, let's continue just a little bit and we'll open this to a few questions. A little bit more about the program that we would like to encourage you to consider. It's called the Certified Wealth Management Advisor Program. And basically this is a 5-day boot camp, very intensive. It is our partner, of course, is the wonderful Malaysia Insurance Institute, but we also are accredited in Singapore by the Institute of Banking and Finance, which is a Singapore government body. And our partnership is actually in the International Society of Financial Professionals. They're the organization that provides the certification. About 2-3 years ago, they set up in Asia, in Singapore. Before that, they've been around for about 15 years, I believe, 14 years. And they've got about 15,000 members. They're founded globally, with members worldwide. They're not for profit. And they, in addition to CWMA, they provide other certifications, including Certified Risk Analyst, which is CCRA, which is very well known in China. So some of you who's interested in China, ISFP has a rather strong presence there. So this professional certification is certified by the International Society of Financial Professionals, is approved. And in Singapore, participants are able to claim back from the government for this program because it's approved. We call it a Certified Wealth Management Advisor Program. First, how do I identify and acquire new clients? Second, how can I explain wealth products, risk products, and wealth concept and investment concepts such as asset allocation in the most strategic way so that my clients understand how to buy better from me. Let me repeat that, so that my clients understand how to better buy from me. All right. We will not cover a lot on tax-specific, country-specific tax regulations because this is a global program, but we'll certainly discuss it, but not in great detail. We'll talk about wealth preservation. Is there a difference between trusts, wills, foundations? The answer is yes. How are they different? What's suitable for the client? So that's a little bit where we are. We ran this program for the last couple of years in Asia already. We just did one last week and a couple last year in Singapore. This has been approved in Singapore for about 12 months now, so we're picking up steam there. How are we positioned? This is very, very interesting in my opinion. The first thing is, well, we all know the CFA is very good. The CFA is theoretical and it's what we call a summative assessment. What does summative mean? You get a grade. Did you study the exam? CFA is fantastic. Really smart people get it. But there's a narrow gate policy there, which basically means I think only about 18 to 25% of people who take CFA the first time pass. So the odds are not for you. But anyway, it's a good program. And that program CFA is more focused on how to be an analyst, how to actually be able to calculate price earning, dynamics, and look at all these cool stuff that they talk about in Bloomberg. CFP, RFP is really, really good. We believe it's practical. We really like it, but it's still a summative assessment. What do I mean by that? Just because you can technically do a client or individual's personal balance sheet, it doesn't really mean they're going to tell you the truth. It doesn't really mean that they're going to allow you to work with real data. They'll say, well, why don't you pretend or assume that I make 5,000 ringgit? You try and see how. So the challenge is, how can we stay relevant, right? So I like to think that what we're doing here is we're very practically focused. We have theories, but we said, okay, enough theories. How do you hold this conversation with the client? What is the outcome that you're looking for? So it is not what you know and not what you understand, but rather how do you apply? So this 5-day boot camp will have lots of discussions, interactions, and it's focused on apply. That's really where we make a difference, okay? This is the learning journey, and I'm going to stop in 2-3 minutes and invite you to ask questions. So there's a total of roughly, roughly like 20 plus activities. We're going to talk about what is the private bankers globally doing, local versus international players, what does investment philosophy mean, what are the different risk types, how can I manage risk. You'll have daily quizzes at the end of the day, but you'll all pass because it's all done on an app. Then we talk about pros and cons on different asset classes, especially more sophisticated asset classes, right? Then we'll talk a little bit about the money quadrant. What is the type of money that I'm managing? And what are the products that we have to suit that? We spoke a little bit just now about wealth seasons, so that's what it is. The 9th activity is we're going to talk about portfolio construction. How do we do it with the client breathing down our neck as a backdrop? And then we're going to talk about portfolio construction in 2 different frameworks, using core satellite and then using a barbell strategy. Let me repeat that. 2 different frameworks, core satellite and barbell. And we'll have lots of case studies. Then we'll talk about portfolio reviews and we'll talk about behavioral finance issues because you will come across this. I just think that we should just try to anticipate what clients may object to and so we prepare for it. Last 2 days, it's about asking great questions. How do you tackle the top 10 objections? How do you engage a client? And then finally, how do you do a portfolio rebalance and review and rebalance? How do you do a portfolio review and rebalance? Well, you need to start somewhere. And we think that the best way to start is with the existing portfolio, and you want to have a strategic conversation, not a conversational conversation. So day 5 is just role plays, and we look forward to kind of getting you to try and apply instead of just having theory. Sorry, let me just. I apologize. So that's really the framework. I'm going to share one more slide, which is the last slide that I think is relevant. Is oh, by the way, sorry. We have, this is an example of the certificate you will get. This is Kartik certificate. He got it a few years ago. And this is the program. You may want to do a screenshot here. This is the program details to register your interest in partnership with the Malaysia Insurance Institute. Okay. And we'll scan this up a little bit in a bit as well, all right? So don't worry about it. So I think I've taken about exactly 30 minutes. I would like to encourage us to ask questions, to challenge us. So what are your guys' questions? And maybe I'll invite our colleagues at Malaysia Insurance Institute to facilitate this part of the dialogue.
Yes, thanks, Carl. There's a question here about, I think in your slides, I think you talked about the portfolio. I think the question that I saw here is whether the meaning of the portfolio here only focuses on investments.
Well, the answer is yes, but portfolio should be, okay, so maybe the best way to do is investments needs to have, in my opinion, a portfolio, okay? So I would like to reverse this. Investments should be within investments, there should be a portfolio. But the portfolio doesn't necessarily be stocks and equities and bonds. You know, investments could be real estate, art. Some people even invest in wine. But I would not say that that's wealth management. Wealth management, that bucket needs to also look at risk management. Remember, when I'm not a professional wealth maker for you, I'm a wealth manager for you. And wealth management requires both looking at the upside potential and protecting the downside. So the answer is yes. Portfolio construction should be a part of investment strategy. It should be a part of overall wealth. But I am, please understand, this program is not about for you to figure out what stocks to pick. That for me tends to be an analyst job. It's a very different from a client engagement job. And usually stock pickers are more speculating instead of investing. And we need to explain to our clients the difference. Hopefully that's not too technical.
Okay, I hope that answered the question. I just had one question. I don't know if it's a stupid question or not. I think in the 5 seasons, the wealth, I think it's wealth seasons. I'm just curious about the difference between wealth growth and wealth accumulation. It sounds, I mean, isn't it both growing in size? I'm just curious about when is it moving on from growth to accumulation?
Shalini, it's a great question. It's a very good question. And the answer is actually quite simple. There's no distinctive marks. People don't just say, oh, by the way, now I'm accumulating wealth. No, in a way, it's an indicator that you need to sense as a wealth manager. Because when you're engaging with an existing client and you sense that they've got more extra additional income to invest, then you're saying, okay, especially a businessman or businesswoman, just an example. If I'm a businessman and I have 100,000 ringgit and I'm a businessman, I only have 2 choices, right? I either give it to you to invest or I put it in the business that I can make my own money, right? And if I'm making a 20% return on my business, I will invest in my business. And it's very hard for you in a portfolio to make 20% return unless it's a hedge fund or unless it's a venture capital, which is over 7 years, and that's hit and miss. So there's a lot of strategies around it. So then the question is, okay, in this season, your wealth growth is more on your active income,
okay,
not your passive income.
okay,
So there's some concepts around that as well. Wealth is both active and passive income. We are only usually responsible as wealth managers for the passive income, correct? And so although that seems to be a very sequential season, it is an indicator, a barometer, rather than a specific scientific measurement.
okay.
But it's a great framework to engage your clients. Saying, by the way, in this season of your life, what is your wealth season? What do you mean? And you explain that. The minute you explain that, they start to calibrate. Okay, and when they calibrate, then you know their context. Then you can speak to that context.
Because I'm just one. Yeah, because I know that when you asked about, you should ask the client which season are they in, right? And so I'm just wondering how would they be able to recognize that? I think you would probably have to give them some analogies of where they are, and for them to then pick. Okay, I think I'm around here. So that's what I was just trying to figure out.
But I mean, you have the answer, right? And actually, it doesn't really matter what they answer. The question is they start to think about it in those terms. And then you start to engage them, because then when you talk about a whole life product or endowment plan, you actually know how it's positioned to solve that specific need. Otherwise, it's just a product.
Okay, so I know that we have a very diverse group today attending. So how would you position this for, say, if I'm from life, if I'm from general, if I'm from broking? Right? If I'm a broker, how would you look at this program and how it suits these different lines?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. Now, generally speaking, I would first kind of reduce this to a very core competency of a wealth manager. A wealth manager generally helps an individual and the family on their personal wealth. If you are actually helping with their business side of things, this is corporate banking or investment banking or insurance brokerage for the corporate group life type thing. So I would say that that's good. You can learn a lot from here, but generally speaking, people who are compensated with wealth management is talking about the individual. Within the individual, wealth management is expressed in many different ways. In private banking, they like to sell structured products. In insurance tied agency, they like to sell risk products. And some products now, like investment linked products, have the best of both worlds. But it's not product centric. I would like to pull it back and say, okay, instead of looking at different products, let's look at the season of the person, and then how do we complement that season with the right solutioning. By definition, the word product is not a solution. A solution, by definition, has to solve a problem. Otherwise, it's not called a solution. So the whole idea behind this whole program and the skill set and this relevancy is the clients can buy everything online, Shalini. They can go to an app and we can be replaced very soon. The whole idea is to remove ourselves from this transactional mindset to be a more strategic and holistic mindset. And in order to do that, it is not about the products, it's not about the investment, it's about the client engagement. And if I engage a client in a slightly different way, a strategic way, the outcome will be a deeper relationship. I can position my solutions the right way, but it could be the same product. Okay.
So I'm just curious about, while we see if there's any more questions, please do feel free to post any other questions that you have. I think we'll share the chat as well as, I think, not the chat, the slides that Dr. Carl used in his presentation. We'll share that over later as well. I think in terms of how, people have benefited, okay, what you've seen, Dr. Carl, since you've run this program quite a bit, what has that change that you've seen, post attending the CWMA?
Great question again, Shalini, and we didn't set this up, but you asked some fantastic questions. I think there are 3 or 4 ideas that you could take away. First of all, maybe some talking points. After 5 days, if you've got 4 or 5 additional talking points that you can use with existing clients, why not? You could still end up selling the same products, but you can hopefully sell deeper, but have a different nature of conversation. Let me just be honest. How do you grow your business? By working harder? I'm assuming you work hard.
Okay.
By trying your best? I'm assuming you're trying your best already. That is not a strategy, that's an effort, but it's really, how do you grow your business? Well, you have to try to think through it strategically. And having some additional talking points with client engagement is very good. Number 2, we talk very specifically about hunting. How do I get new clients? Friends and referrals, of course. That's one activity. What else? How do I develop my own personal marketing rhythm? But my agency leader does it for me. Fantastic. How do I instill that kind of discipline in myself as a wealth manager? Wednesdays, I'm always having what I call the power lunch with Carl. 3 people. Now we cannot. Before COVID, cannot. But I was doing this for many years. There's already 3 or 4 individuals with me, and it's always from different industries. And I'm not there to sell. I'm there to network. And people say, "Did you get invited to Carl's power lunch?" No. But you know what? You develop a marketing rhythm. So first is talking points. Second is actually discipline about hunting, about prospecting. Do you have a plan? What is in your plan? Here's best practice on what a prospecting plan may or should look like. Third, farming. Am I spending the right amount of time with the right clients?
Okay.
Fourth, there's still some technical skills there to be discussed. Shalini, if your portfolio is up and we are having a bullish market, which is things are looking well, what are the 3 or 4 recommendations you would look at? If your portfolio is up, but it's a bearish market, what are the 3 or 4 key concepts in investing that we should be talking about? What if your portfolio is down and it's a bull market? Should you go bottom in and start popping up? And the worst case scenario is what is down and down? Portfolio is down and it doesn't look very good. What are the 3 or 4 risk management concepts that you need to be? So those are technical skills, Shalini, that will be covered in great detail. The people who are training are the former ultra high net worth private banker at UBS and Goldman Sachs. They deal with clients who got 50 million US and more. But you don't want to say, "Oh, that's not me." Well, why not? Right? Well, I don't have clients like that. Well, how does she get clients like that? Everybody starts somewhere. "Oh, that's not my market." No problem. You can still do that. So there's a technical skill. So let me repeat that. Some talking points, hunting skills, right? Farming skills, or not skills, farming discipline, hunting discipline, right? Some technical skills. And the last thing is what I call unconscious competence. This is key, Shalini.
Sorry,
I'm
unconscious. What do you say, Doctor?
Unconscious competence.
Okay.
This is key.
Okay.
I'm good. My clients like me, that's why I'm good. No, that is incorrect. My clients trust me, that's why I'm good. No, that's incorrect. Your clients trust you because you did something. So this is the unconscious competence. My job and our job as learning partners is to help you raise your awareness of what am I doing right and compartmentalize it. So I don't do things naturally, but I do things systematically. The most successful wealth managers are not born, they're trained.
Yep. Okay.
It's all about being disciplined, being systematic, being resilient, and being adaptable to the different changes in time. So that's a little bit about how I think. And I'm talking a mouthful, and that's a lot of information. We encourage people to ask questions. Our job is to give you the equipping so that you can really bless your clients instead of just simply sell based on commission, but you want to sell deeper. As a strategic wealth advisor rather than a product provider. because the manufacturing is done by somebody else.
Yeah, it's to really raise your profile to the next level, right? I think as a profession as well, to rise beyond just, yes, exactly. I mean, from what we started out to be product-centric to be more solution-centric, yes, and to really focus on the client's needs, which is very important. Anything else?
By the way, Charlene, just that one point, it's very difficult to be client-centric because typical clients in Asia will say these 4 questions. Number 1, so what's good to buy?
True, I would ask that too. Okay.
Yeah, I would too. And then the independent financial advisor or the agent, oh, this is good to buy. And then the second question, so can I make money?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And the third, how much?
Okay.
And the fourth, hey, can discount have coupon? I would say this is good. We should continue to do that, but that should not be the only thing that you want to do as you grow your career, because that's still product centric.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Anything else, Rafika? Okay, wait. We have one question. How do you balance being a wealth advisor and a product pusher? So to find that balance, I know you were talking about it. Where is that? How do you? So you come across with someone with finesse, rather than this typical guy that's trying to shove something down your throat. Yeah.
So this is a philosophical question, and I will give you a philosophical answer. You have to decide your own personal value proposition. If you want to be a product pusher, I don't want to judge you, and that's good. You just have to remember one thing: you will guarantee be replaced by an app or a website. I'm just with one of the major wealth private banks here. I said to them this morning, everything that you sell, 90% can be purchased at fundsupermart.com.sg or cheaper.
Okay. All right. A lot cheaper.
Why?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is, why would the client buy from you? Because if it's just the product, many people provide it. It's not the product. I want to engage so I can understand how the product works for you in your life in this season. Here's the secret. And I recently I recently hired a personal trainer. Okay. Everyone knows how to exercise.
True.
Everybody knows why they should exercise. You don't even have to go to the gym. You can just do push-ups, sit up, and jog, and do squats in your room. Why don't you do that? Discipline. That's why I spend a little bit of money, because I'm a Chinese Indonesian living in Singapore. Where we say "kiasu," I don't want to lose my money. So since I hired this personal trainer, I'm going to wake up 7 o'clock and I'm going to go there and let them beat me up.
Okay.
I'm paying for the discipline, not for the knowledge.
Okay.
So I would like to suggest, to answer Tejas's question, is if you want to be a product pusher, no problem, make a website. Right? Just think about the longevity of the career. And also, but there's a reality too. If you're just starting out in your career, you've got no clients, and you have to sell some products to make ends meet, it is what it is. So I can say that because I'm 50 plus year old, okay? So it's a little bit different in different seasons, in different people's life. There's no one fixed rule. Our job, I believe, Malaysia Insurance Institute and our company, Momenta, our job is to give you the equipment, the ingredients, and the kitchen. You decide what you want to cook. Nasi goreng or nasi lemak or mee goreng. It depends on what the client wants to eat. But my job is to make sure you have all the ingredients and spices.
Yeah, and I guess, and as you mentioned about how do you stay relevant, how do you be sustainable and continue to thrive in the profession, right? Because as you say, there's a very short shelf life to if you're just product pushing. I hope that answered the question. There's another question. Is it correct to say that wealth management is a process of consultative process? Most people have the wrong impression that wealth management is purely about creating wealth, whereas it is about creating creative solutions. Lastly, what are the benefits of wealth management, or how it would create a better life for everyone?
The person who just wrote this should be actually teaching our program. You're absolutely right. Somehow you've seen my slides. It's about a systematic, structured way to provide advice, because the market will change, the client's lifestyle will change, their needs will change. Nothing is static. Just for the pandemic, the Malaysian government, Singapore government has changed their mind 18 times. The process is the key. What we're going to impart with you is the process. We hope that we can inspire you that this process is well tested, well tried, and by the way, hundreds of years old. As long as we can have a process and we add our own flavor to it, you can have a very unique value proposition. Because your products are all the same. Please, I'm sorry, Great Eastern, Prudential, Allianz, all good. Maybank, Etika, Tokyo Marine, AIA, all great. And it's all regulated, by the way. And all the compensation structures are kind of same. What's the difference? The difference is the relationship, the quality of conversation, and the capabilities of the individual giving that advice.
Yeah.
Now, the final question, another question I just want to make sure I address it is, what about, are we more a wealth creator? Okay, here's a simple answer. If you're talking to someone who wants you to create wealth for them, I would say be careful. You may not be looking at targeting the right or the wrong clients. Hopefully you're targeting clients who already have some wealth that needs to be managed. In general, I tell people, if you're looking to create wealth, good luck. I'll pray for you. But punting in the stock market is not a sustainable wealth creation strategy. So I'm not an options trader and saying, okay, I'm advertising, my clients made 800%. No. For me, those people who make a lot of money doing that, fantastic, excellent. But in my opinion, that's not wealth management. Wealth management is a little bit more conservative, a little bit more mindful, a little bit of discipline, and a lot of engagement.
Okay. All right. I hope that answered. Do we answer all? Okay. Okay, we've answered that. Creating. Okay, we've answered that. And benefits. Yes. Okay. I think we've covered all of that. Anything else, Dr. Paul, to add to close us out today with 3 minutes on the clock?
Well, I'm just going to.
Okay. Another follow-up question, Dr. Gal. You have to hold on your closing statement. How to get an entry to a client who says he's fully serviced, and what do you have to offer that's different? Okay,
the quickest answer to that, I love your enthusiasm, is you are the difference, and the quality of conversation is different. And if they're fully serviced, you should say, somebody like you, Ms. Shalini, I would be surprised if you're not fully serviced. My question to you is, may I understand who is servicing you? And in this program, we will teach you how to handle those kind of objections. Right? Just a quick one. Here's a little tip: empathy, explore, explain, example. That's the handling objection technique that will be shared in day number 4, and we'll go extensively to all the objections that you'll see. I'm happy with my advisor right now. Empathy, explore, explain, example. There's a technique to how to answer as well as what to say. So this is a sales program basically for frontliners on how to build their own business.
Okay, all right. I
want to take the opportunity to quickly just to share the screen. Please take a kind of a picture. If you want to register, let us know. We are very grateful to be partnering with Malaysia Insurance Institute, the standard, in my personal opinion, of professional education for the insurance business, the wealth management business in Malaysia. So yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Dr. Kal, just a final statement, maybe?
Look, guys, the world is changing dramatically, faster than I can personally handle. I've got teenage kids, so I think hopefully you guys can empathize with that. Now, what are the relevant skill sets? Mindset, technical skills, soft skills, and knowledge that I need to be equipping myself so I can have that extra advantage. And I want to be very blunt. You're never competing against other competitors. You're competing against yourself. This is like golf.
Okay.
So how do you improve in golf? By practicing, by getting coaching, by kind of reviewing your techniques and do it step by step. Your competitor, you don't want to win on price. You don't want to win on performance. Come on, you don't want to be the cheapest financial advisor. You want to be the most valued. The question is, how do you define that? And we want to give you the ingredients, but you figure out the recipe.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Carl. On the dot, again, thank you very much, Dr. Carl Tong, as well as Denise from Momenta Group. And I think in the chat, you will find the link to register your interest if you want to know more about the program. We're happy to send the details. I think we'll be sharing the slides that Dr. Carl shared today with everybody who attended the session. And we look forward to seeing you at the program. So thank you again. Stay safe and take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye, Dr. Carl.
Thank you very much,
Denise.
everyone.